This is the award-winning entrepreneur, O.D. Harris. Welcome to my podcast, where we inspire and uplift founders, innovators, creators, leaders in the next gen to their next level. Get ready for a great show happening right now. Award-winning entrepreneur, and thank you guys so much for listening live. We are live, and today we're going to be talking about the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is doubting your abilities and feeling like you are not good enough. Feeling like you're not good enough. So let's get right into it. Number one, I think that we have to be in a place where we understand who we are and where we are today. So I think when I was coming up, I used to see all my heroes, like the people that I really looked up to. And, you know, when you're a kid, you're trying to mimic. You want to mimic everything that you see. And so sometimes when you're starting to get older and you have to kind of step on your own, you're still used to mimicking what you see. No one tells you as a child, okay, it's time for you to stop. You know, like I used to imitate the preacher. Like I'm going to imitate the preacher, and this is how they preach, and this is their style. Or a singer. They imitate a singer. They imitate what they see, and that's what we become accustomed to, is just basically imitating everything that we see. And we don't never get to a place where we say, okay, stop imitating and become your own person. When I played basketball, I used to always think I was Michael Jordan. So I will always imitate everything Michael Jordan does. You know, if he was shooting multiple times, I'm going to be shooting multiple times a day. If he does a crossover a certain way, I'm going to do the same crossover the same way. And I'm going to keep practicing the imitation of what Michael Jordan was. Or better yet, I love some of the public speakers like TD Jakes and some of these other guys that's really out there doing it big. And so what happens is that I learned that I became an imitator. You know, I became an imitator of what I seen. And I felt like if I didn't do it exactly the way they did it, then I would not be, I won't be good enough. I won't be accepted. And I think a lot of the reason that we have, that we run into this imposter syndrome is because we are in a society of living like we see others. Like they say, you know, stop keeping up with the Joneses. I know it's a figure of speech, but that had to do with their social life, what they live, what their expectation is, what they live up to. And that is the biggest thing with the imposter syndrome that we run into in our society, is that we're so used to seeing. So we kind of put ourselves in that category. We said, let me do it this way. Let me talk. You know, there's a certain way that I like to talk, or there's a certain person that you like to listen to speak. You trying to do that. Or better yet, you're in corporate America. You see your bosses, you see how they walk. It never surprises me that when I get around people who are around other people, they kind of act the same way. Like all the people that, you know, that follows certain speakers. Like I love Eric Thomas. And so I really get digested into like the people that follow him, because they kind of carry his same swag. You know, they have his same way of putting things out. They have the same way of how he speaks. They like his pace, his tone. And they always are imitating, but they're not finding their voice. And this is where the imposter syndrome becomes so critical in our lives every day, is that we're so busy imitating everyone's where we're not finding our own voice. And it's okay to start one place, but it's not okay, because your purpose and your design for your life is your purpose and your design for your life. And we have to get to a place where we stop imitating and start doing. I had an interesting story. I want to tell you that I was talking to a colleague, and they was sharing with me the worst disappointing things in their life, that they had struggled with bad credit for years. Struggle, you know, through their 20s, through their 30s. Just struggling with bad credit. And I asked the individual, I said, well, what made you come up out of that? Well, number one, I started realizing how important and how valuable it was to me and to my family. It's important to you and your family to be who you are called to be. It's okay to start somewhere, But you have to walk into your own purpose. You have to get to your own place where you are defined by your own rules, where you are where you need to be. You got to get to a place where you stop imitating everyone else and start realizing I'm more than enough. I'm good enough. I was made this way. You was put here for a reason. A lot of us don't realize we were put here for a reason. You was put here for a season. You was put here to do something amazing, something great. You were put here to do that. And when you were put here to do that, it didn't come with a special blueprint and you do this and then this happens, but it comes with your own rhythm, your own pace. And what I want to share with you is find your rhythm and find your pace, like a drum. Boom, boom, boom. Find your pace, find your rhythm, find what makes sense. Find where you know that you can move the way it's supposed to move, the rhythm of life, the pace of life. No need to be in a hurry, and a lot of times we're in a hurry. A lot of times we are there and we need to stop. We need to get out of the hurry mode. I got to get there. I got to get to the end. No, let's take our time. Let's get there. Let's work together. Let's work on trying to become who we are, tapping into who we are, tap into who we supposed to be. Who have you been called to be? But the imposter syndrome, what happens when we're trying to be something else, when we feel like we're not adequate, when we're not good enough, we're so busy trying to aspire to be like something else that we're not. I think about like my journey, like as a kid, and I share with you guys that, I wanted to imitate. I wanted to be like what I seen, but no one was teaching me how to be who I need to be. Everyone say be who you need to be, but what happens when you don't know who you really are? You don't know who you are. Some of us don't know who we are, and we got to be real enough, and we have to be passionate enough and tenacious enough and have the audacious. We got to be willing to confront our own selves. Because some of our biggest enemies is ourselves. Like we're fighting against ourselves. You fighting against an ideology that someone else want you to be. I don't want to be like nobody else. I want to be like me. I don't want to be like no one else. Well, that's not. I remember as I kind of started growing up a little bit, and started realizing people was telling me, oh, you got to wear this for this. You got to put this on. You got to put this clothing on. You got to look like this. I'm tired. I don't want to do what everyone else tell me to do. I want to be me. And that's what happens when you start buying into what society tells you should be, and versus you buying into who you supposed to be on the inside. Who were you called to be? Who were you called to be? Oprah Winfrey said, do the work, do the work, do the work. And people will see you doing the work. And when they see you doing the work, they're going to want to get on board with the work that you're doing. And when they get on board with the work they're doing and they see you continue to do good work, guess what they're going to do? They're going to buy into your concept. They're going to buy into who you are. What is the buy-in? Oh, it's a book. No, it may not be a book. It may just be able to open up a door for you. It may be you speaking. It may be you coming and counseling. It may be something. It may be anything. It may just be you having one-on-ones. We don't know. Oftentimes we define success as money. I don't define my success as money. I define my success on helping one person at a time. Did I help someone? Did someone watch my podcast today? Did someone listen to me live today and say, man, that really helped me? Oh, if someone tells me if I help one person, I'm good, because each time I'm making a stride, my purpose in life is to inspire and uplift and motivate. That's what I'm called to do. Everything I do in my business life, inspire, uplift, motivate. In my podcasting life, inspire, uplift, motivate. In my journey, being a public servant, inspire, uplift, motivate. I don't have time to really work on trying to impress anyone else, because I don't have that type of time. If you are still working on you are still imitating other people. You are still thinking, this is how I get elected into office. This is how the masses are going to attract me. Think again. Think again. Think again. Let me tell you, people who buy into people is because they see the authenticness in them. the realness. Everyone's, oh, D, I love your brand. Just be real. I'm tapped into myself. I'm not waiting for someone else to define me and validate me. So many of us looking for people to validate. If you keep looking for people to validate you, you are never going to get to where you're supposed to get to. If you keep looking for people to validate you, you are not going to get where you are supposed to get to. You know why? Because you're looking for the validation. Let me tell you, the work that you do is your validation. The content that you put out is your validation. The people you connect with is your validation. Stop looking for the masses to validate you. Start realizing that you are the validator of yourself. You have to get out of the imposter syndrome and not feeling like you're good enough and you're not doing something at the next level, and you really, really are. Stop waiting. Get rid of the imposter syndrome. And the problem with the imposter syndrome is that when we don't feel like we're good enough, that's when depression sits in. That's when our anxiety kicks up. Man, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. No one's liking my stuff on social media. I'm not good enough. No one's buying my books. I'm not good enough. No one's buying my services. I'm not good enough. No one's inviting me to come to all these major events. I'm not good enough. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is a lie. Do not buy into what other people see you as. Buy into who you are. Buy into who you are and what you were put here to do. See, and I think that we think that if we get invited somewhere, we're making it to the top. Oh, I got invited to the White House. I'm at the top. No. Oh, I want to be at the White House. That's making it to the top. No. What makes you to the top is when you constantly define and you know what your purpose is. If my purpose in life is to uplift, motivate, and inspire people, then am I uplifting? Am I inspiring? And am I motivating you right now? I'm motivating you to be who you are called to be. Forget everyone else. Forget the rules. Break the rules. When I ran for office, and people say, you're never going to get in. No one elects a first timer. If I had $1 for every time someone said I couldn't do it because I'm a first timer, I would be a rich man. When I was younger, I never forget my lunch aide. She was a lunch aide. That's probably number one. Be careful who you take advice from. Be careful who you open your ears to. Be careful who you allow to talk to your spirit. Be careful. And they said to me, she said, now, you're going to be addicted to drugs. I don't know why, but I had this weird fetish for the way some gas smell or whatever. I don't know what it was. It was some type of weird aroma in the air that my body was like, oh, that smells good. I don't know. I was a kid. I didn't know what was good. But I told the lunch aide that, and she's like, oh, you're going to be addicted to drugs. That means you're going to be addicted to drugs. That's what she said to me. That's what she said. You're going to be addicted to drugs because of whatever the aroma was or whatever the smell was in the atmosphere is going to make you addicted to drugs. Really, I did not get that. I did not understand that. But that's what she said to me. Imagine how many people in your life that said you wasn't going to be nothing, but look where you are today. How many people in your life say you're never going to get your business up going? No one's ever going to buy into your concept. You don't look good enough. You're not in the gym working out. You're not muscle. You're not fit. No one's going to buy into your fitness plan because you're not fit. You look fat. Only skinny people, only muscular people can do a workout video. Boo, I'm big and I'm doing a workout video. Okay? Because there's a market for everybody. And if we stop buying into what everyone else have defined us as, then we will never get to where we supposed to get to. We got to stop buying into what everyone else say we're going to be and start buying into knowing who we are. Who are you called to be? Who are you called? Think about it. You may sit here on the live and say, I don't know who I am. I'm still working this thing out. I can tell you right now, stop working it out. Stop working it out. Stop. That's the problem. You're focusing on something that you're trying to have a perfect formula to. And the real talk is that stop. There's no perfect formula. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect way of doing anything. Oh, well, OD, I see where you are, but you see where I'm at. And you see my journey, my story, because I've been very public and open with my story in public. But if some people knew what your story was that it took for you to get to where you are today. If people knew that you was in a bad relationship and that relationship sucked you dry, they will be jumping up and down right now, celebrating that you made it out. If some people knew where you've been through, if they only knew your story. Now, because mine's is public. Mine's is public. I went through a lot. I've been down, man. I've been in some, I've had some dark days, y'all. Literally. I had someone steal thousands of dollars from me. Thousands. And I remember sitting up in the bed. I was crying and weeping. And I was like, God, it got to get better than this. Because I knew who I was, but I was trying to live the imposter syndrome was taking me over. The imposter syndrome said, if I'm not flying every day, if I'm not posting by a private jet, or if I'm not, if I'm not running a marathon, if I'm not doing something that society say I should be doing, then I was not living the life. I wasn't living the quote unquote American dream. But what is the American dream if you're not walking in your purpose? We have to get off of TV. Oh, romanticism. Oh, if I walk with my wife, my spouse, my significant other down the beach, then ask her to marry me, and all this other stigma stuff, you're never going to become who you need to become, because some of us is living to an expectation that no one cares. No one even knows. No one even knows that you're trying to live. You're looking at your neighbor's house. I want a bigger house, and now I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. No one really cares. No one really knows. No one knows really what you're fighting. They don't even know your inner demons that you're dealing with. It's the imposter syndrome. It's the imposter syndrome. And let me tell you, when you continue to try to live up to someone else's expectation, you will get depressed. Because every time they go up, you think you're supposed to go up. Every time. Oh, that's a word. Every time you look at someone else underneath the imposter syndrome and they go up, you think you're supposed to go up. So guess what you do? Oh, let me see. Okay, they got another house. Let me go in debt. Let me go in debt so I can live, so people can come over to my house and see something fancy. Who cares? No one's coming over your house anyways. No one's coming. No one's coming. You got this big old house. How many people have you allowed over? And let me tell you something. When they get tired of seeing your house, they're going to stop coming. When they get tired of seeing your car, they're going to stop checking in. When you get something new, brand new and shiny, everyone's checking in like, oh, look at that. That's so cool. That's cool. Awesome. I love your Maybach. I love your new Honda 2022, on some spinners, everything. When you, I like that. Competing for air. Stop. Just be who you are. This 2022 year, cut the imposter syndrome. This year, cut it. I dare everyone on this live to make a commitment to yourself, not to others, that you are going to do what you can do. You're buying a house. Buy in your budget. You're buying a car. Buy in your budget. So what? You got a little hoopty. Guess what? Once you go from the hoopty, you'll go up to a medium-sized hoopty. Then you go to a high-value hoopty. And then you'll finally get into a used car. Listen, there's progressions and there's steps, and you have to trust the process. Trusting the process. So I tell you, you need to move to a beat. Like a beat of a drum, a rhythm. Boom, boom, boom. No one else's rhythm, just your rhythm. Just your rhythm. Just stay consistent. Because a lot of times we're not consistent. A lot of times we're trying to be like someone else. A lot of times we found to be, we want to hurry up and skip the beat. Just like your heart. Life have built you in a rhythm like your heart. Your heart has a beat. It has a rhythm. It has a pace. there's a pace in life that when you were, now that you're older, think back on what you would have told yourself 5 years ago. Boom, boom, 10 years ago. What would I would have told myself 10 years ago? Because now that you're older, you're growing up and you're starting to see things for what they really are. And you're starting to realize, hey, I don't need to live to impress anyone. I just need to live to live. I want to save money. I want to put money in my bank account. It's okay. Ride around in the hoopty. Keep getting that thing fixed. Keep getting the oil changes. Keep changing the tires. The engine go out, get another engine. Who cares? Seats rip, get a new seat. Repairs. But build and pace yourself moving forward. Don't worry about what everyone else is seeing in you. Stop worrying about it. Stop. Just stop. Get out of the habit. Get out of it. No, go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Imposter syndrome. I don't care what the Joneses are doing. Figure of speech. I know there's some Joneses out there listening like, are you talking about me? No, I'm just talking about figure of speech. Stop trying to be everywhere else. I like what Dr. Sean Brown said, trust the process. Man, we are in a process. We are in a process for real. And the thing about the process, it sucks. It don't feel good. It don't feel like I'm winning when I'm in a process, because sometimes you're losing. It feel like you're losing. Man, I really wanted this. I don't know if I can trust that. You know, why do I gotta be broke? My friends are going out 5-star dinners. Why you got me? Why am I in a process where I can't go out to 5-star? I gotta go to McDonald's. Because you are in the best process of your life that builds character. It builds you up. It makes you who you need to be. So be who you need to be. Stop being like everyone else. Trust it. You're going to be all right. But the imposter syndrome is a real thing, and people are constantly living up to someone else's expectation. If you're in the church, stop living up to what everyone else's expectation you're supposed to be. If you are called to be a prophet, a preacher, whatever you may be called to be, just be that. Be what God called you to be. Stop trying to be what everyone else saying. Oh, you a singer. No, but I may can sing, but that's not what I want to do. I want to do this, so do it. Do it, you guys. I love you guys, but I had to get this out there. I had to get it out there so you can know. Defeat the imposter syndrome, because what happens when you're trying to be like someone else and you're trying to get to a society level, you're never going to get there. You're never going to get there because it's never going to be good enough, because guess what? Society is constantly selling you on a bag of goods. Oh, if you do this, you're going to be successful. If you do this, you're going to be successful. Listen, there's just a handful of people that's going to be successful in that area and that top level. So be who you need to be. All right, this is award-winning entrepreneur O.D. Harris, and thank you guys so much for listening and hanging out with me for a little while. We don't preach and got you happy, but check out more of my podcasts. Go to odharris.org/podcast.